Welcome back, everybody. This is Creative Cosplay Corner. I am Cable Rose, your host and uber fan of all things cosplay. Today, we have a twofer. We have our first international couple. Well, let me rephrase that. Our first international guest coming all the way from the country of Japan. And we have our first couple, cosplay couple. I've met some other creative cosplay people that have also family members that do it, but I have the opportunity to bring both of them on, and I would like to introduce Carrie and Mike all the way from Japan. So y'all come on, introduce yourself and tell us about yourselves.
Oh, well, let's see. You go first.
Well, okay, so the Air Force brought me out here. I've been in the Air Force for a little over 16 years. First got into cosplay in 2013 was the first time I went to a con, but I had been doing World War II reenacting and SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism, for a number of years before that. Kind of got into it doing Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, then it's just kind of branched out a little bit from there.
Okay.
And let me see. So I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida. Woot woot. Let's see. I started sewing when I was probably 8 years old. And I still own my mom's sewing machine that I learned to sew on, which was pretty cool. I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings when I was like 11 years old, I was like that horse girl in school, which was just great. I read all the books. I was obsessed. And I think when I first started making my own costumes, it was probably like 11. And I was like making Lord of the Rings dresses out of like my mom's slips and like, nightgowns and things in the backyard, running around like I was an elf princess, which is, what things that you do when you're homeschooled. So I started going to conventions when I was about 18. And I was really into Doctor Who at the time. So I went as Amy Pond. And then after that, I really got into Marvel cosplaying. I still haven't done a full Lord of the Rings costume. That's on my, yes, I have. I did Eowyn, didn't I? We went to New Zealand. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I've done, let me think, Lord of the Rings. I've done all kinds of stuff. I love Star Wars. That's like a huge one I grew up with. So I still do the costuming for that. I do, oh my gosh, just everything. And yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there. I started going to conventions in like 2012, 2013. And okay. I've been going.
So let's talk about that, right? So I think it's a very interesting world of cosplay. I think that what happens either at a convention or the preparation to lead up to a convention, and there's all different types of levels of cosplayers. I myself could put a Black Series bucket on and a Hawaiian shirt, and I'm Darth Vader on vacation, right? So right. that's a completely
perfect Dragon Con costume. There you go.
Right? Yes. Dragon Con, I'm gonna have to work up to some Dragon Con because they've got some high end. So we've got different levels, but the preparation I always find very interesting. And so I want to start off right off the bat. So Carrie, you said it, and Mike, you said it. Mike, you talked about some of your, and help me get the enunciation correct. SCA is the Society for
Creative Anachronism.
And it's the authenticity of a certain time period. Right? You're not talking about LARPing. You're talking about full-blown, the history, the science, and what's going on.
Trying to research and recreate anything that people did back during the Middle Ages.
Okay. So minus the black. Well, you got that guy with the mask thing.
The plague doctor.
So I want to start with this picture right here, because this picture is what I imagine that preparation. Carrie, you talked about it. You've been sewing for many years. Mike, your passion for the leather work, the mill work, whether it's going to be the actual metal that you're working with, y'all actually sit and take the time to do this. And this picture, and we'll do post-production. We'll go in the corner and we'll do this big screen. But what's
we were actually making masks. We were making masks for work and for our coworkers because of the coronavirus in that picture.
Oh, so this is
But
COVID.
That's my mom's sewing machine right on the table where Mike is. That's the 1980s Singer sewing machine that my mom got. Yeah.
She was on or cutting and pinning the patterns, and then she'd hand them off to me.
And he'd be sewing them. So it was like a assembly line, pretty much. But
I dig it, you guys. But that right there, and you said it, that machine right there, that's where that creativeness and that thought comes, and again, that one blade just moves back and forth, and what comes out of it is what I'm going to show you guys here now. So let's talk about something like this. What is this?
That is Game of Thrones. That's
is Jaime and Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones.
They're siblings, but they are in a relationship. It's a little bit weird. And we got a lot of very weird reactions when we wore this costume to a con. A woman actually yelled at us and asked us if we were actually siblings. And I was like, no, this is my boyfriend. But I made that red dress on that sewing machine. I made that dress completely from scratch. The belt was bought off Etsy by someone who's a lot more talented than me with metalwork. Okay. I handmade that whole dress. And Mike, I think Mike made most of that.
Yeah, that armor took me the better part of a year. To do.
I made the white cape.
Bought some pieces like the breast and back plate I bought pre-made, but then I cut and altered the edges, added the detailing on. The shoulders actually came out as two basically whole metal spheres that I cut sections out of, added the edges on. The scales are all steel scales that are all connected together, stitched to leather. And so that costume, when I'm wearing it, probably weighs about 60 pounds or so.
That was the one when we got back to the hotel room, I was rubbing his back out because it was bad. He had red marks.
Because the scales that are on my arm there, there are slightly larger versions of those on my legs going all the way from my waist down to my knees.
Okay.
So that was like a big pair of suspenders underneath you can actually see the leather by his armpit.
That's what that is right there. I gotta tell you guys, seriously, going through these pictures and trying to decide what to pull and what to pick and what to talk about. I saw some of these details and I thought, okay, because again, I have a sewing machine. I've got my mom's sewing machine, and I can fix my jeans, but I don't know about pulling patterns out and starting to make dresses. But I can and a shot at it.
I was in the same boat. The first. For a long time, I purposely avoided having to sew anything because I was intimidated by sewing machines, didn't know how to use it. And I had picked up an old one from
the thrift store, wasn't it?
I can't remember where I got it from, but I picked up an old machine from somewhere and just started practicing on a scrap piece of material. And once I learned how to everything and I was running through, it's like, oh, okay, this is not actually that complicated. So I started off just with the cloak because it's just straight seams, straight edges and stuff, and then gradually got into more complicated stuff to where I can doing stuff now where there's multiple pieces sandwiched together and stitching and there's
interfacing
sleeves and linings.
Have you guys got your serger yet? Where's your serger at?
Oh, those are so expensive, but eventually we're gonna get one. I kind of jerry rig it. I just kind of take the seam and I do a zigzag stitch and then close it.
And it works, right? So let's look at this next one. I love the evolution of where we're going with these. So let's talk about something like this as well.
Ooh, you talk about that one. That was
okay. So that's your never minding my if it's not in the picture, my horrible beard that I'm wearing in that.
I think it is in the picture. Yes, it is.
Oh yeah. So I had not had much experience doing beards at this point, so that's why it tends to look a little hobo-ish.
Yeah, he was in the hotel room going like, "Hey there, young lady." I'm just like, oh God.
Well, Mike, you and I don't have a lot of experience growing beards as active duty members. We didn't get to have one. So this is actually trimmed up. It was actually down to here yesterday, and I just took about 5 inches off.
Oh my God.
And it was disgusting. It was so bad. But I'm trying to learn how to do this.
I've gotten a lot better. I've done a Jon Snow later on with the beard that's a lot better shaped and edged and all that. But anyway,
you gotta get like a lazy beard.
Yeah. So this is my Robb Stark costume, and the armor that I'm wearing on my sleeves and shoulders and arms. That's all real steel armor.
Okay.
The leather brigandine is actual leather with leather plates riveted underneath it. Wow. So once I had the canvas, spray adhesive, stuck the leather plates on, put the leather on top, got it wet so I can run the grooves down in between everything. Then had to take a hand drill and drill out every one of those holes for those rivets.
The rivets. Then put the rivets in. Then hammer down the rivets.
Yeah. There's over 900 rivets on the whole thing front and back. And then
you counted because you earned that one.
And then
we still got bags of those damn things.
And then hand stitch the edging all the way around. Hand stitching to close it all up.
And to hand stitch leather, you also have to use like an awl to get the holes. So he had to punch holes through the whole thing and then hand stitch it. And then mine, that was actually a gift from a wonderful seamstress in Atlanta named Nancy Yan. And the belt was off Etsy. It's just a piece of foam that's been cut out and spray painted gold. I just strapped for time, so I didn't make it myself. But it's one of my favorite Sansa dresses because I love her purple dresses in like season 3 or 4, I think, of Game of Thrones. Sansa's a really interesting character because the way her clothes change really bring out like what her character's doing. So, and the way that colors used in the show when Michelle Clapton was the costume designer was fantastic. But that's another, conversation.
I love it. Hey, we'll do a whole episode on just that one, right? Just those colored those colored dresses. We'll do a whole episode on that one. I love it, you guys. Seriously, the quality and the effort again put in. But the fact that I'm trying to grab the ones of y'all together. So then we got something like this, and I don't know what this is.
Oh, Outlander. So Outlander. Oh man, it was a book series in the 1990s, and then it got turned into a TV show on Stars, I think.
Stars.
Yeah, it's on Stars. So, but in the 90s, it was like so popular. I mean, these books are massive, and they're like there's like 11 of them, I think, or 9 of them.
Starts off as a nurse in World War II.
Yes.
Who ends up traveling back accidentally to about 1740s Scotland.
She's on her second honeymoon with her husband, who was working British intelligence during the war, and so it's like the book is set in like 1947 or something like that. So they go to Scotland for their second honeymoon, and while she's out there, she wanders into like a stone circle and touches the middle stone and gets whisked back to like the Jacobite rebellion in Scotland. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of talking about like why did the Scottish want independence and like what were the English doing and what were
very well researched.
It's very well researched. Yeah. I mean, I have beef with it sometimes, but like this, it's very well researched for the most part. But Claire Beecham Randall is the woman that I'm dressed as, and she ends up she runs into a captain of the dragoons who's in the British Army, who's actually her husband's like great grandfather, and he looks just like her husband, and it really throws her for a loop. But he's like, it's
like when Marty McFly goes back to the Western one, and it's Marty with the hat, right?
But he's an asshole. He's like this huge asshole, and he tries to like attack her and all this. And so she's being hidden by like the Scottish groups that are like kind of guerrilla fighters. And then I don't remember what happens, but the English want her to present herself at this fort, and she kind of doesn't have a choice. And they're like, wait a minute, if you become a Scottish citizen, you can avoid it. So she ends up marrying the redheaded guy. So, and then they fall in love. So
this is the in love picture, right? I got to sneak that one in there. So again, you guys are doing very historically accurate, and or like you just said, Mike, very well researched to where it's not just a character and you throw it together and you go, because you want to put something into this. So put the effort.
And you talk about the accuracy of the costumes. So I did World War II reenacting before I got into doing cosplay. So the authenticity that's required of reenacting, of making sure that it's made out of period materials, if possible. Construction methods like that, I brought that over into cosplay. So the kilt that I'm wearing in this picture and the last one is actually a full 9-yard great kilt that you actually have to lay out on the floor and hand pleat it, then lay on it, fold it over, buckle it. And so it's, because I figured this is traditional Scottish national dress. So if I'm going to wear it, I want to do it justice and do it properly.
And that was really funny to do. We went to Denver Comic Con, and he had to lay it out in the hotel hallway in his underwear.
Because that was the only place I could find the length to do it.
That was great, because this woman in like a full Marie Antoinette dress came around the corner, saw him laying out the kilt, and went, "Oh, you're putting on a great kilt." We were like, "Yeah, that's what we're doing. Have a nice day." But handed my whole in that photo as well.
Okay.
I handed all the holes for the grommets that lace up the front of the dress, of the bodice, because back then you wouldn't have had a machine stitched. You didn't have sewing machines, and you didn't have metal grommets. You would have hand stitched it. So I hand stitched up the holes in the front and everything. It was nice.
Okay. So let's jump from a genre. So we'll go from again, we call it fantasy. Is that what we just talked about? Fantasy?
Yeah, fantasy, historical
historical.
fiction.
Yeah.
So let's go from that to a little bit something more modern that I could actually understand and know. Let's go to something like this. So,
all right.
Now you
Let's
can talk
talk.
about this for a long day. Go for it.
So obviously Wonder Woman, and I'm dressed as Steve Trevor in this one. And the convenient thing about this one, because it's set during World War One, there's actually companies out there that make reproduction World War One gear.
okay.
So the coat I don't think is an original style, but it's very close to what they had back then.
Yeah.
But I was able to go onto various websites to find the sweater, which is just like a Royal Air Force, Royal Navy, thick acrylic sweater. The leather vest is a World War One piece. The shotgun is actually just an airsoft 1897 shotgun.
Okay.
And then so it's just going and finding this original, or not original, but reproduction of original stuff, and then kind of putting it together. That's the convenient part about stuff that takes place in the 20th century. Is you can probably find stuff that's either original, dead on, or very close.
Yes.
Which means that I don't have to go through and figure out how to make a jacket, because I'm not there with my skills yet.
You're not, like you said, laying the leather out and having to put the groove
cutting it yourself. Yeah.
Although that one, it did have all this kind of polyester fill in the jacket, so it ended up looking very puffy. So I cut a slit in the stitching and actually flipped it inside out, took it out all the insulation in it, so it fits a lot.
Which worked a lot, because when we were wearing the costume, it was like
this is Atlanta in August.
90 degrees. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, as if it should be 30 degrees outside.
And you would think that I would be fine because I have basically a tube top and a skirt, but no, because that costume is made of foam. It's EVA foam, and I would just be sweating my head off, like down the front, down the back. You can't really breathe, But yeah.
So again, absolutely dead on. The first few times I saw these of you guys, I was like, okay, Carrie, here you are. This is probably out in, I don't know if it's Florida. I don't know.
That was in Florida. Yeah.
So
that was in,
you've got the background.
The woods. Yeah.
Out in the woods, right? You got a great setting, a great backdrop. Like you said, it's foam, but the costume itself came out fantastic. This is you guys. This is the shield that I've always been a fan of from Wonder Woman and this era Wonder Woman. I'm excited for 1984. I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm super
I can't wait.
I'm so bummed. Once it finally gets out here, we're going to go watch that.
And then,
I'm excited for the trailers because they're bringing back the members only jackets.
Oh, God, you're old.
I love it, Mike. Hey, I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm right there. So let's do this. Mike, I got to ask a question. How many times have you seen this charging at you when she's mad at you?
I've seen that kind of like crazed look in my eye, and it's like I better just shut up and
give me chocolate.
Yeah, I just gotta hide this like toss pieces of chocolate at her
behind the couch. Yeah.
So I really loved, and again, right before we started recording, we had shared a story about how you guys met through the con and how you guys have progressed through this together as you decide. I like this one here. Mike, you talked about with your service connection there at the Air Force that you do some of the reenactment and some of the 30s and 40s as well. So let's talk about, Carrie, your Peggy as we get into this era for you as well.
Yes. Okay. So this was actually taken in 2015, I believe. I made that jacket from a men's. Looking at it now, I can see all the mistakes I made with it, but I was so proud of it at the time. And my mom actually took this picture of me in our backyard, which is really fun. But I found, what did I go? I found a skirt and the shirt and the tie at a military surplus store where they had various old uniforms. And at that time, I didn't really know that much about 1940s in particular outfits. I believe the shirt I'm wearing is actually a Marine shirt. Okay. An Army shirt, but it's details like that. And I don't think that jacket's 40s either, because it was a men's 4-pocket belted jacket. And I think it, I want to say it probably dated from the 60s or 70s. Okay. But it was the right color. It was like close enough for the Project Rebirth outfit. And Peggy doesn't actually wear military uniforms. Her uniforms they were custom made for Haley Atwell on the show, and they were based off of military uniforms.
Yeah.
But since she's not technically in the military, she's what would be like comparable to the OSS, basically.
Yeah, the uniforms that she has are very close or similar to actual Army uniforms, but they're
different.
The actual style of that coat and everything was not in any of the women's uniforms.
Right. So the closest thing would be an Ike jacket because it's cropped at the waist. So I had to actually take a pocket jacket and make it into that Ike jacket. So that strip around the bottom is actually the belt that went with the coat. I sewed it on. I cut off half the coat, sewed it on. I had to make the cuffs with the cuff buttons from scratch from the extra fabric. I cut off the front pockets and shaped them to kind of look like the SSR, and then I replaced all the buttons on the whole jacket. And because they were black, they weren't gold, they were black. So I actually found a ton of buttons at like a thrift store, and I just sewed them right on.
So my story for this, and the reason I wanted to go to this and the next one, I love, of course, the entire phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Marvel world. I dig it. But everybody is, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to take away from Tony Stark. I don't want to take away from his role in that. But everybody doesn't give a lot of credit, or they almost downplay the Captain Rogers and Peggy. That was almost more powerful to me at the end. So, and Mike, I apologize. This was one of the only ones I could find of you two that were in this characters. I know there's more, but these are the ones I grabbed.
Yeah.
So I like the movies. I like Tony. I like it. But at the end, when Cap decides he's going to go have a life and go live, and he's back with Peggy.
Bawling.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. So this one here, Mike, is this one of your first Captain Americas that you did for Steve?
That was probably the second, first or second. The first one, actually, the very first one I think I ever did was the uniform, with the short jacket uniform with the Ike jacket. Whereas, in the war room, a lot of times when he's got the plain shield, before it gets painted up.
Yeah.
This was the first of his full Captain America uniforms I did, because again, coming out of World War II, I loved the first Avenger movie, and at the time that was my favorite of his uniforms. So I've been looking for people who do the uniform, and again, to this sounds really bad, but to the level of authenticity and accuracy that I would like, because there's a lot of ones that are very affordable that are pretty close, but maybe the shaping's not right in different areas, or just, for whatever reason, it just doesn't quite get where I'm trying to go. But yeah, so I did this. I did the leather work on the chest,
harness,
belt, the pouches there, and then the leg holster and the waist belt and the boots. I actually took a pair of World War II pattern jump boots and made the cuffs that go on the top of them.
Yep.
Carrie's enjoying this reminiscing right here. She's enjoying this one here.
Yes, I am.
So let's take it somewhere then, Carrie, because the progression that I've walked through, and I've done this purposefully because I want to go to I'm a Star Wars guy. I don't know if I'm good or bad.
Yes, I love it. Oh.
I have to stay on target, right? So I'll stay on target.
Fantastic.
So I love this one because as a couple that you two are, these are, so let's talk about Rey and Kylo, because
let's.
So let's talk about Rey and Kylo. First off, the Rey and the Kylo, the quality put into your costumes and your cosplay for these two, as a Star Wars fan and as a fan of cosplay. But I really enjoyed watching you guys do these, because I was like, I'd go scroll through my Instagram and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then I'm going to finish with this one, because I'm going to do it, Mike. I told you. There is nothing better than a couple who can cosplay together, and Mike's got the
do some sexy stuff. I'm sad we don't have that wig anymore. I think I lost it. Unfortunately, we were doing something here with the spouse groups or something, and somebody took the wig home on accident. I was like, no, Kylo Ren. But that's fine.
But do me a favor though. What is, Mike, for you? You talked about the kilt in the hallway. What's it like for you to? And I don't know if you walked through a con like this before. Did you walk through a con half naked?
I have not cosplayed Ben
Not
Swolo.
shirtless, not Ben Swolo. No, not yet.
Ben Swolo, I love it. So, I mean, going through the history of, going through your passion for attention to detail, your character choices, everything that you've got. So I have one, not final question, but one question. What is it about cosplay? And what is it about y'all's cosplay that is your lure into it, or that allures you into it?
I don't know. You got an answer for that? I'll try to think of something while you're.
Yeah. No, I know. And it's an open, broad question.
I like having an activity that I could like do with my husband. It's like really dorky that we both really enjoy doing. And that takes, you know, some skill to do, because it's like you can always work on honing a skill. And whether that's, you know, just goofing around and having fun and doing like sexy photo shoots, or, you know, making dumb TikToks or like whatever, you know, I mean, because out here, you know, right now there's really no conventions going on. So we're really just catching up on a lot of stuff that we had to get done. We're working on projects that we had planned, like him especially, he's working on a couple of projects and that he just hasn't had time to sit down and do. So it's just really nice to always kind of have that on the back burner as a thing that you can pick up and do, you know, just for fun. it's
just for fun. And so, Mike, what's your thoughts?
So I think for me, it kind of grew out of just really liking Halloween and being able to dress up in different costumes and kind of being able to become someone else for a couple hours, you know, being, you know, put on a costume and feeling, you know, I'm obviously not, I don't take it so far as necessarily acting like the character and being in character as I'm going along.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that feeling of kind of in your head, you put this on and it's like,
oh, I'm this person, like
kind of,
yeah,
kind of get, you know, and then, you know, learning, like you said, learning skills along the way that you can, that you find all kinds of different uses for, learning how to use a sewing machine, doing leather work, all that stuff. Yeah, I guess, does that make sense? I know it's gonna.
No, absolutely. No. I think it's a great answer, because I'm unedited, I'm unscripted. I don't lead you guys anywhere. I don't tell you what we're really going to do, and I just kind of ask what kind of pops into my head, and that's what I really like to hear, is just those honest answers. You like the attention to detail. You like the talent that it takes to put into that, and you like just going walking in and putting it on for a couple hours.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just seeing a costume like, wow, that looks really cool.
I want to see if I can make it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned putting on the costume and becoming someone else is funny. So I have a full-on Maverick flight suit, like all the flight gear, the G suit, the ejection harness, the helmet, the whole 9 yards. Because that grew out of guys in Florida started getting into Vietnam reenacting. So I decided, well, you know, I can start doing like a Navy fighter pilot, and somewhere along the line that just warped into full-on Maverick. So I'm at an air show, and anytime anyone sees me getting into the gear at an air show, they always think that I'm one of the pilots and I'm actually getting ready to go up somewhere, and I'll kind of tell them that I'm just, you know, reenactor and stuff. But one time there was an F-18 flying around doing a flight demo for the show, and after it lands, I'm walking around the grounds there, and people are coming up to me saying, oh, thank you for the show, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, you think I was just that guy?
No, man.
And then so I was talking to, like, there's a girl that came up to me. She was probably like 13, 14, whatever, asked for my autograph. And she was asking my name. And I was about to say Mike Brown, but her mom standing right next to her points to my name tag and goes, oh, no, Pete Mitchell. I'm like, yes. Yeah, because I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, make her feel dumb. So I'm like, yes, sure, that's my name.
Pete Mitchell, yeah. That's something similar. I really love kids at conventions as well. I did you may have seen this like floating around the internet, but there was an incident where I was at Tampa Bay Comic Con.
I know this one.
Yeah, this one.
Uh-oh, this sounds good.
Paris's blue dress, and about 200 kids mistook me for Elsa from Frozen. And it was just mayhem. And I made a funny post about it on my Tumblr at the time, and then I think it went viral. My aunt was posting it on
the
Facebook.
circumstances of
Well, the circumstance is, I was walking around and this little girl comes up and she's like, "Oh, can we get a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Sure. Why do these children know what Game of Thrones is?" And I'm getting a picture and the mom goes, "Oh, we love Frozen so much." God. Well, then of course I had to go along with it. I'm not going to tell this 4-year-old, "No, I'm not Elsa." So I got my friend to braid my hair into, my wig into a braid. And then we're going around and I'm singing for the kids, just like for fun. And everyone's laughing because you can see these grown people going, "Oh my God, those kids think she's Elsa." Some woman comes up to me, "Do you do birthday parties?" I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm not even dressed as Elsa right now. Like, I don't even know."
She's dressed from a very non-kid appropriate show.
I was like,
yes.
Oh, and it was an entertaining day. But yes, the post ended up going viral. My aunt was tagging me in it because she kept seeing it on Pinterest. I was like, "Oh my God."
You guys, I love it. There's a lot of energy and a lot of passion, a lot of humor in what it is that you guys do. And so sitting here, I know we're 9,000 miles apart. I'm in Texas and you guys are in Japan. And just hearing you share your history together, your moments together, and why you do what you do. I think it's an awesome thing of what you present. Some of those pictures are phenomenal. Like, again, I think one of your Wonder Woman pictures should probably be y'all's like business cards, like when you hand out business cards. Like that should be
those are actually some of the pictures that we're most proud of as far as how they turned out, and
they were amazing.
The composition, the background, and the posing and everything. Those ones just came together.
Initially, I think we showed up to the park because that marble column and arch is a really popular staging area for photos during Dragon Con. It's like a walk away from the hotels. It's like right there, this little triangle of a park. And so you can find somebody there like all the time. But we went up there because I think we were planning to do photos with Greg. And then it was like, people just started coming from nowhere. "Oh my gosh, let's get a picture. Let's get a picture." This kid dressed as Batman wanted a picture. I was like, "This is adorable."
We were in that spot for the better part of an hour straight.
Probably more.
Just taking pictures. Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
people would come by and then there would be a mass of photographers. That would start to thin up, and then people would see, "Hey, what's going on over there?" So
then they'd come
more people
up.
would come in, and
you're standing there trying to pose. Your eyes are twitching because it's so hot outside. You've been frozen for like a minute.
Like, can I just get?
Can I get a drink?
Can I get like 2 minutes? 2 minutes break just to give my face a break, and then we'll go back.
Yep.
That was like the Pape Amidala costume I wore. I mean, oh my gosh, that was a sweaty one, but it was in the same area, and people wanted pictures.
You guys, it's been a treat. So as a Uber fan, and again, I do a little cost, but as an Uber fan, as I scroll through the interwebs and see what people are doing, I've really enjoyed the last 2 or 3 years watching you all. I know we were neighbors over here in Clovis and in Texas and stuff. And you flew over. Mike, you flew over in your B-17 flyover. Is your again your reenactment of that era is just awesome to watch that stuff. But to see you guys now and to see you guys out there and just continue that passion for what you do. I don't want, if you guys don't have anything to leak, but is there a what's next? Like, do you guys have a combo of what's next?
So for me, the 2 that I have coming up next, one of them is Captain America from Age of Ultron.
Okay.
I've been doing that for about 3 years now because I bought the base costume in 2017, intending to wear it for 2018, but then life got in the way.
Sure.
And I just little by little been finishing up. So
slowly,
I'm almost at that point now where it's almost done. Another is a mashup of a Star Wars X-Wing Resistance pilot from the new trilogy and Maverick from Top Gun. So with that one. I actually, because I looked at the types of patches that he's got on his flight suit in Top Gun, and when I was deployed last time, they have a patch shop that you can just take them any design and they'll turn into a patch for you. So I went and I found off of various websites, concept designs of like, hey, this is a X-Wing fighter squadron patch and this and that, and I had those all made up and sewn on. And I'm doing like the parachute harness over the top of the white vest and everything.
Okay.
So those are the 2 that I'm probably about 80% of the way through.
I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do next, if I want to do another one in anytime this year, because again there's no conventions going on out here, so it's like But mostly I spend my time just kind of fixing little things on costumes, and sometimes I get lucky and I can buy some stuff secondhand. So I just bought that enormous red dress, which is from Outlander. You probably saw the pictures on Instagram with the
Yep.
big ears. Yeah, it's a little too short in the torso for me, so I'm gonna try to fix that a little bit with some hooks and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean,
in a way, it's actually kind of nice not having cons always breathing down your neck, because then you have a bunch of, okay, I gotta hurry up, and you can take the time to get it right.
I would love, since Avatar: The Last Airbender is like everyone's back into that again, I would love to maybe do a Kyoshi Warrior. I've been really into the Kyoshi Warriors ever since the show came out, and I keep telling myself, I'll do it one day. I've got to do it. I've got to just buckle down and do it.
So a few things that I want to cover just before, as we kind of, and again, I appreciate y'all's time this morning. It's evening for me on Saturday. It's Sunday morning for you guys.
Hey, this is a pleasure. I'm having a blast.
Good. But I want to tell both Mike and Carrie, because Carrie Mike is a military active duty member, Carrie as the family member of that. I appreciate y'all for what y'all are doing and what you do. Both of you, Carrie, I know you're kind of new to this. Was a couple years now into this, and
2 years, yeah.
Yep, and it's a big deal to that first question. Hey, are you up for this? Are you up for this? Are you up for this? Yes. And so here we are. Yep. And you knocked two of them. You got one more to go. You knocked two of them right out the gate, but you got one more to go.
There you go.
Right? But you guys are out there. I appreciate what y'all are doing. And then two, to see you guys share what you do and put it out there for us to enjoy. Whether it's the sewing machine in the background and you doing, I know that was COVID masks, but whether it's sewing machines or the hand stitching, whatever that looks like, there's a real talent and a real passion as you all put those together. So I enjoy it, because like I said, I scroll through, oh, look what they're up to now, and I can kind of see it. I don't know the fantasy world, so I'm like, I think that's probably one of those Game of Thrones, you know. If you had a Starbucks cup, I would know dead on you were in Game of Thrones. No, I'm kidding. But then of course your Ben Swolo and your sexy Kylo Ren and
oh my gosh, I've been calling that since 2015. My mom and we had a running bet. We were like, when are they gonna kiss? She won.
Yeah. No, you guys, seriously, it's amazing. One, I appreciate when I reached out that you guys made the offer to come on and be on part of the show. I love to do this. Like I said, I don't have a job. I'm just kind of at home right now. And I thought, hey, I might as well share what everybody else is doing. And that's kind of where this cosplay came from. Yeah. Right. And
you got the time to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got some of the little toys and stuff. You were talking about sewing machines. I got my lighting and my green screen, and I got some fun stuff here. So it's been kind of fun. But is there anything you want to tell the audience? And again, post-production, we'll get some contact if you want to share your Instagram. If we want to give credit to the people who took your Wonder Woman photos, I want to make sure we get credit for the people who took. But is there anything you want to tell the audience about cosplay? Anything?
You do not have to have $1 million. You do not even have to have a sewing machine. You can make a cosplay out of anything. You can go to the thrift store at the Goodwill and make a costume. You just got to be creative, and you got to have a passion for the character. That's all you need. That's literally it.
I'd say the same thing. If there's a costume that you want to make, then just go ahead and make it. Don't worry about if it's not coming out like people that have $2,000 to drop on a costume. Everybody has to start somewhere.
And everyone's going to be a critic, but don't worry about it. You just got to do your thing.
The fact that you have the confidence to, show up at a con. Mm-hmm. If all you had was $50 and, to drop on, like, hey,
like $20,
everybody,
it's fine.
Or whatever it is, everybody starts from somewhere, and it's all about the excitement and the creativity that you have for those characters. Yeah.
There's a lot of cosplay that people think, oh, I don't look exactly like, this famous cosplayer or that famous cosplayer, so I can't do it.
There's a perception, or there's a popularity nowadays for people.
It makes me sad.
People that physically, like in their face and everything, resemble the actor, and that's really cool. But
it gets the most attention.
But that shouldn't be the goal that everybody is shooting for.
And it also sucks being at the end of that, because then if you want to do anything else, literally anything else, someone's always going, well, why don't you go do this character that you look just like? And it's like, no, like I knew 2 girls, and one of them is a dead ringer for Scarlett Johansson. One of them is a dead ringer for Gal Gadot. And both of them, whenever they do anything other than Black Widow or Wonder Woman, when are you going to do Black Widow again? When are you going to do Wonder Woman again?
Yeah.
It's like, no, they let them do their own thing, you know? So it's like a double-edged sword, but it's really just about loving the craft.
I love it. No, seriously, to share the craft and to share the explanation of the craft is exactly like that. I've heard from a lot of my guests. They say, just do it. Doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah.
If you love it,
Yeah.
go have fun and go do it. And as well, we talked a lot about some of the gender roles where it doesn't have to be. I could go as Tinkerbell where somebody else wants to go as.
I've done gender bent Black Widow. We did a
we did gender
one
bent
year.
Captain America and Black Widow. So I was Steve Rogers as a woman and he was Black Widow as a dude. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I love it, right? I mean, it's a great time. And to go to those cons, whether it's Mega, whether it's Dragon, whether it's small town. I'm in YC3, Amarillo, Yellow City Comic Con right here, little one. And they're still a blast.
I know that one.
Sam Jones was here last year. Of course, we missed it this year. Sam, and I walked in with my Black Series and my Hawaiian shirt, and he was like, "Oh, Vader's on vacation," and I was like, "Yes, it's exactly right." It's just so cool, right? Because anybody and everybody can enjoy it and have a good time. Y'all, listen, I've looked forward to this week. I know we've been playing phone tag and trying to lock something down. I truly appreciate both of y'all for both your time coming out. I love what I get to do, and I love that I get to connect with y'all and people of y'all's status to where y'all just want to share your passion and share your craft. I think it's amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for reaching out.
No, I do appreciate it. Thanks for being here, and thank you again for being over there right now and having this time being apart from family and stuff. I know that's tough, and you guys got a couple years over there. Are you at Oka or Yoka? Where you guys
Okinawa,
at?
Yeah, Okinawa.
we're in Oki.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Oki. Got the Oki, right? Love it. But you guys, seriously, it's been a blast. This has been Creative Cosplay Corner with Mike and Carrie, both our cosplayers for the week. You guys, we will catch you guys on the flip-flop, and everybody else out there, we'll catch you guys on the round side.